All right, so we are on Monday, October 7th, 10/7. Everyone write it down. We are 10/7/19 for today's date. Make sure your name and date are on here. We are finally doing our review unit for AP Calculus. And that's really what Precalculus is all about, right? Getting you ready for AP Calculus. Normal schools will call this Algebra 3, but this is really a Precalculus class. So what is our objective today? Quiet raised hand. Andrea.
Simplify rational expressions after factoring and solve for a variable in a rational equation.
Yep, so there's two parts of that. We're doing, there's two assignments tonight. First half is first assignment, back half is last assignment. Can I take your card, by the way? Who's game warden? James, are you giving her 50 XP? Thank you. All right, so everything in this unit should be review. Let's go ahead and talk about the steps when I'm trying to simplify rational expressions. And I bet this is going to spark some memories from Geo and Sego. Oh, these steps sound very familiar. Whenever I'm simplifying a rational expression, I'm first going to factor. And then eventually I'm going to cancel. And then plug in if you're doing a limit. If you're going to factor out the GCF of both the coefficient and the variable. In terms of the coefficient, just look for the biggest thing that you can divide it by, the biggest divisor. And in terms of the variable, look for the biggest possible power. And then you're going to find the values that make the expression undefined. So we'll practice doing that a lot. That means I'm setting the denominator equal to what with a quiet raised hand, James? 0 is indeed correct. You can give yourself 50 XP. So if you set the denominator equal to 0, you are finding the values that will make that whole expression undefined. And then finally, you will cancel. You're only going to cross it off if it's being what operation? Quiet raised hand. Gio? Multiplied. Thank you. Being multiplied. If it's being added or subtracted, you may not cross it off. A good hint for you is if you put everything in parentheses, only cross things off that are in parentheses. If I have something like in parentheses like x plus 1 and I have something on the bottom like 2x plus 1, because it's not the parentheses, it's stuff on the inside the parentheses, I'm not allowed to do that. You're only allowed to cross off the entire pair of parentheses. The entire parentheses. I don't know if that helps you guys, but there it is. You cannot do this. That's bad. Bad. You can't cross off part of the parentheses. You have to cross off the entire parentheses, not just part of it. All right. So let me give you guys two examples. I think I have two. I'm going to do the first one. You guys are going to do the second one. So we are going to simplify the rational expression and find values that make it undefined. There are two things to this question, two parts. Finding values that make this thing undefined and simplifying it. Step 1 and 3 are simplifying, and then step 2 is that second part, which is making or finding values that make it undefined. So we're going to do those steps in order. First, factor out the GCF of the numerator and the denominator. Quiet raised hand for the numerator. What is the greatest common factor of both the coefficient and the variable, Fiona?
5x.
It is indeed 5x to the power of 3, and I'm going to start my parentheses. The biggest thing that can divide the coefficients by is 5. The smallest exponent between these two is 3. That's where 5x to the power of 3 came from. I'll take your card. Thank you. Oh, yeah, thank you. All right, and then, Fiona, what's left over after I factor out 5x to the power of 3? 5x plus 3. Everyone write it down. Fiona just factored out the greatest common factor of the numerator. I need someone to repeat that process for the denominator. Eva. Yep, and then when I factor 10x out, I get? Careful. 2x plus 1, yes. When I divide 10x by 10x, it turns into a 1. All right, so we just did step 1. Thank you, Eva, and I'll take your card. James is tapping away and giving people XP like a madman over there. All right, so from here, I'm going to do step 2, find the values that make the expression undefined. What am I going to do? Who can just read what I'm going to do and then just do that? It's nice and easy. Read step 2, that bullet point. What am I going to be doing? Quiet raised hand. Easy XP here. Fiona. All right, tell me what to write then. The denominator. So read off the denominator and then do the math. Just read off the And then almost done. It is indeed equal to 0. We set the denominator equal to 0. Thank you, Fiona. Fiona, did you need the help?
Yeah.
All right, then Teflon, she gets 80 XP for helping.
And I
Or is
helped Eva too.
Yeah, it's 80 XP.
I said 2x. Or did you hear me? No, probably not.
Yeah. The rule of thumb is help people only if they need it. All right, so this is the zero product property. If you forgot the zero product property, here's your reminder. If I say A times B is equal to 0, then it's possible that A could be 0, B could be 0, or both of them could be 0. So we have to account for all possibilities. Let's go ahead and set both the things that are being multiplied equal to 0. So this turns into two things. The first thing is that 10x could be equal to 0. And the second thing, I'll do this in blue, is that 2x plus 1 could be equal to 0 by the zero product property. Is there a quiet raised hand that can tell me the two values of x that will make this expression undefined? And you'll write it out like this. You'll say undefined, undefined. For x is equal to blank and x is equal to blank. You are telling me what those blanks are by solving for those two equations, the green equation and the blue equation. Is there anyone that can do that for me? Only one person can do it. She just did it last time. She was the last person to participate. I want to give it to someone new if possible. James, go for it. X is equal to 0. That was our green one because you divided both sides by 10, divide by 10, divide by 10. 0 divided by 10 is indeed 0. And what about the blue one? What do you do to both sides? Subtract 1, so I get 2x is equal to negative 1, and then I do what to both sides? By. Okay, so I get the answer is negative 1 over 2. There it is. Those are the undefined values. James, you can give yourself 50 XP, and anyone that helped you along the way can get 80. Those are the two values that will make this expression undefined. In Khan Academy, you'll have multiple choice buttons, and you can select multiple choices. All right, we did step 2. We are on to step 3. We're basically there. What can I cancel out now? We're coming back up here. What can I cancel out? Does anyone see things that I can cancel? Well, I can divide the top and bottom by something and get rid of some numbers. Let's divide the top and bottom by 5. That goes away. That turns into a 1. And this turns into a, shout it out, 2. That's one thing that I can cancel out. What's another thing that I can cancel out? Fiona.
The x.
Yep, so this x to the power of 3 turns into 2, and that x to the power of 1 goes away. So when I write the final answer out here, it's going to be 1, this was a 1 instead of a 5, 1x to the power of 2, or just x to the power of 2, and I still have 5x plus 3. On the denominator, the 10 turned into a 2. The x to the power of 1 went away, and I still have 2x plus 1. After you finish copying that down, the next question I have for you is, can we go any further? That's it. That's as far as we can go. Box it. So there are two answers. There's a simplified answer, which we asked for. It was saying simplify. That was the first thing. And it also asked, what are the values that make it undefined? We boxed this down here as well. It's undefined for these values. And that 2 got cut off here. Steps 1, 2, and 3. Chris Hood. All right, you guys are going to be doing example number 2. Same procedure. See if you can do it. Good luck. All right, someone go ahead and do step number 1 on the numerator. Quiet raised hand. Who's it going to be? If everyone can get in, then everyone can get their extra 100 XP bonus. Who has not participated yet? I'm looking for cards. Does anyone still have the card out? Geo, go for it. Oh, sorry, Chris. 6n squared times 14n cubed minus 4. Ooh, careful here. 6 times 4 is 24. You can give it to Chris if you'd like. Chris, you had your hand raised, right?
Is it? I put 8.
It is indeed 8. 8 what?
N squared.
8n squared.
And 7n cubed.
7n cubed.
Minus 2.
Minus 2. Thank you, Chris. James, give Gio and Chris the 50xp, please. And then on the denominator, how can I factor that guy? James? Oh no, you weren't raising your hand? Go for it.
N squared minus 4.
N squared minus 4. There it is. And I could factor this even further if I wanted to, since this is a difference of squares. Even this is a difference of squares. We'll leave it like this for now. All right, so thank you, James. You can give yourself 50 XP. And then from here, what is step number 2? How am I going to do that, Sego? Do it up here. Perfect. So we'll have 2 equations that pop out of this. 4 is equal to 0. Or n squared minus 4 is equal to 0. Can 4 ever be 0? Don't worry about it. Get rid of it. We're only looking for things that could make us 0, and this looks like it could be 0. Can someone solve this for me? Quiet raised hand. Teflon? Add 4 to both sides, okay. Square root it. If I square root both sides, let me do that in yellow. Square root, and I get n is equal to, careful, plus or minus 2. Whenever I square root, I could have a negative 2 times a negative 2 to get a 4, or a positive 2 times a positive 2 to get a 4. All right. From there, we can say that our excluded values, I cannot spell here, or we can say excluded or undefined, whatever you want to say, the values that will make this thing bad. What am I saying? Let's do undefined. That's not how you spell undefined, Mr. Snell. Undefined. Oh my gosh, can't write. For x is equal to negative 2, x is equal to positive 2. That's half of the answer. Who can do step 3 for me? Fiona, thank you. That's a 2, and that's all I can do. Cool. And you just rewrite it, right? Yeah. 2n squared times 7n to the power of 3 minus 2. All this divided by n squared minus 4. That is our final answer. Box that one as well. All right, give me a fist of 5 on these types of problems. Good, I'm seeing high scores. 4s and 5s all around, except for Chris, who has a 0 because he didn't raise his hand. Still not going to do it. What's your fist of 5, Chris? 5. All right, nice. Let's go on to the back. Solving for a variable. I consider these to be even easier than the previous problems. They're 2 steps, cross multiply and solve. That's as easy as it gets. So let's do example 3 together. Cross multiply. So if I do this way, it's going to be 1 times 4y plus 6, which is just 4y plus 6. Nice and easy. Let's cross multiply the other direction. This is going to be equal to 2 times y plus 2. I'll pause, make sure everyone understands what we're doing. Make sure that you're going to distribute. Don't forget your parentheses. And then from there, we actually do the distribution. So this now turns into 2y plus 4. And on the left-hand side, 4y plus 6. I need a quiet raised hand. Can you walk me through the rest of the problems to solve for y? Who can do this? James, go for it.
So you subtract 4 to 6.
All right, so subtract 4 from both sides, and I get what equation then? 6 minus 4,
Sorry, 2 plus 2.
and then this side's going to be
2y.
2y. Perfect. Next step, James.
Divide 2y and divide 4y.
Ooh, careful. We need to get all the variables on the same side. So we're going to...
Minus 4y to 2y.
All right, so I'm going to get what equation then?
Negative 2y. Or 2 equals to negative 2y. And then divide 2 by negative 2.
Divide everything by negative 2, and then when I get everything by itself, y is therefore equal to
Negative 1.
-1. Thank you, James. It's that easy. Try it again. Example number 4, and then you'll be done. Do example number 4 on your own. Good luck. All right. Who can do the first step? Cross multiply. Is everyone in? Chris, have you turned in your card yet? Chris, you want to do the cross multiplying for us? It's nice and easy.
5. Wait, doesn't matter which way you go.
Does not matter which way you go.
5 and parentheses x.
Keep going.
I don't need my parentheses. Okay. Then equals 4 minus.
Thank you, Chris. Someone else solve. Fiona? James Hood?
I mean, 15.
Next step.
You add 15.
Okay, so I get all right, and then I get say again. Okay. Divide by 13. I don't even write that. When I divide by 13, I get x is equal to 19 over 13. There it is. All right, give me a fist of 5 on these last 2 examples. 5s all around. All right, cool. Homework is on Khan Academy. Good luck.